how can we streamline and simplify conducting business in Oakland County? Are you scared to throw down in the kitchen? Or?
I'll make it happen when necessary. Truly appreciate you taking the time and coming to have this conversation with me as a small business owner. It's truly showing the interest within it as well. Hey Nick, so I hear you're running for Oakland County Executive.
Yeah, man, I'm running hard, so.
Wonderful. How may I help you?
I think the question is the other way around. How can I help you?
Wonderful. So this past few years, just kind of like, we started with this business. So as a small business owner and part of this operation, we have had our struggles within the Oakland County. So there's many things that there is room for improvement, but luckily we can say that we're progressing in the right direction and all that good stuff. But there's definitely some things that we can definitely have.
There's always room for improvement, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir. Absolutely.
Well, I think you know that I'm a restaurant veteran. I've been in the game for, over 20, 25 years. So you guys have a beautiful place here, man. I mean, it's top notch. It's one of my favorite restaurants, and obviously, your following shows that it's successful, and you guys do a great job. But I know what it's like, and it's not easy. You guys struggle, but I talk to everybody. I bounce around different businesses, and even in the insurance world, one of my favorite things that I like to do is, how'd you start this business? What are you about? Where are you? Where are you going? And look, there are challenges. I mean, especially the last 4 years or so. We've been on a decline, and we'll jump into that stuff. But like, how did you start? Like, you start working in restaurants, because I know how I started. And I started washing dishes at a young age, working for my family, then cooking, then a little bit of bussing tables, then a little bit of assistant managing, and I don't know if your story is the same, but I'm a story guy, and I think this is what makes
Absolutely.
successes.
So a little bit of background about me. My home is Zana. Welcome you to this wonderful place. A little background about me. We started kind of a very similar story as well. Tallulah, which is part of our restaurant group, was kind of my home for the bulk of my restaurant career per se. Was there for about 12 to 13 years. I worked with my current business partner now, Nik Gjonaj. He has a very similar story as well, but we kind of like started as well. Moved to the States when I was about 14.
Wow.
And then got into the restaurant business, worked at Coney Island for a couple months, and then went to high school. And during the duration of my high school, I believe at around 16, 17, kind of like started Tallulah. English was definitely my second language. So started in the position kind of like a dishwasher, learned a little bit more, became a little more comfortable, moved over to the front of the house, kind of learned to be, was a server assistant. After many years, kind of became a server. Mario saw a little potential upon me, and he was my mentor. So we kind of grew up. He's a very similar story as well. And when he took over the operation, he saw, hey, you have potential. How about some growth? So after that, I dipped my toe into the management pool. So managed Tallulah for about 4 to 5 years, and then after that, time for expansion. The opportunity presented itself. Start kind of in line with a little bit of hard work, luck, and kind of like great work ethic and paying the dues.
Of course.
When it comes to the restaurant business, we got the opportunity and we're lucky to open this beautiful establishment.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, but that's what it's about. That's the restaurant game. First of all, it's a young man's game. That's why I got out now. But I'll tell you what, it is about paying the dues. And I respect everybody from fast food, Coney's, sports bars, Mexican, Italian, fine dining, all the way up. It's a tough business, but it's a great business, and you have back of the house, you have front of the house. But here, when you walk in, a lot of people, they pop into Zana and they say, wow, this place is sick, it's beautiful. And it is, right? But they don't know all the hard work, the trials, the tribulations. When you guys started construction here, I know there were some issues with the red tape and all this stuff, and everybody goes through it, but that's kind of been my thing, is talking to businesses. How can we streamline and simplify conducting business in Oakland County and getting out of your way? You're always going to have issues. This is life, right? In personal and business. But what can government do to make it easier, not to be an obstruction, not to be a stone in your shoe, right? So these are things that I'm talking with business owners, and I'd love to at some point even form a group or a consortium of restaurant owners to see what else can the county do at the county level. There's certain things that are out of our periphery, but whatever that I can do as the next Oakland County executive, you better believe I'm going to do it and make life a lot easier for residents and business owners here. So I would say another thing that I'm noticing, I don't know if you have any opinion on it, so many people, we're losing we're losing a lot of youth in the state, especially in the county. So I don't know if you're noticing that, because everybody I feel like is looking for workers. There's not enough workers, but the youth in specific, are you noticing that?
We notice a mixture of differences when it comes to the struggles, especially with employees. In the restaurant business, probably the core, the most important thing, it's a workforce, because it's a very hands-on, hospitality-driven, and doesn't matter how good my work ethic is, how great I might be at it.
Yeah.
I am as strong as my dishwasher, I am as strong as my server, so it's a very people-driven business.
Yeah.
The struggles that I see right now is that there is so many restaurants. So the workforce, it might be per se diluted in a sense where people don't take it as a career. Me personally, where I try to maintain talent is by first try to provide a great workplace where people can be prideful of,
Right.
and then truly through and through believe in the people, invest in the people, and be able to, when I recognize the talent, they want to be part of it, then I will try to develop those people. Share with them my story, show them how I can do it best. What the struggles might be with it is that a lot of people that don't, when they look at it, it's a struggle per se, that they want to put forth their best foot forward in order to pay the dues, to go through the hardships, to learn the things. So they learn, I have a harder time perhaps finding the right kind of people that I can build on, and it gets more people who just come here 2-3 months and then just kind of move on.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
So that's with the hospitality industry, that's kind of like the main struggles. But luckily, I've been able to develop X amount of key people that I can surround myself with that believe upon what we're trying to do, are behind it, are able to deliver what we're trying to do, and truly through and through take care of the people.
You guys are top notch.
That's what we're trying to accomplish. And that being said, is there now, especially in the social media world and all this stuff, there's a high level of importance. So when that agenda gets pushed there, it's like, oh, why do I got to work 50, 60 hours, 40 hours a week where I can just make this money on the other way? So I have a hard time retaining the younger people upon this establishment.
That makes sense, because I think a lot of people are going through the same thing. I think it's something across the board that, not just restaurants, but I have friends in manufacturing and I have friends in other types of business, construction, that are kind of going through the same thing. But you mentioned something earlier too, with some of your key employees, and this is something that's kind of becoming more at the forefront, where new families, new home ownership is a little out of reach because of the interest rates and inflation and stuff. And you work at a place like this, I mean, obviously, for sure you're gonna have pride, and I'm sure the staff does well. But even that, I know people that are making X amount of dollars a year that 8 years ago, 6 years ago, they could have got a house, and now it's tough. And I know that you guys are offering, different benefits and all these things to attract good talent and keep people. But for me, as the next Oakland County executive, that's going to be key too, because part of that solution is, how do we tackle, I don't like to say affordable housing, I think these are buzzwords, but first time family homes. You're a young family guy, right? So we got to make that accessible. Another thing is public safety. Thank God you guys are in a good area, but stuff happens everywhere. And that's another thing that we've been noticing in the countywide, even in well-to-do areas, that you have these Chilean gangs. They're robbing these houses, home invasions. We got to work here, we got to play here, we got to live here, but we want to be safe here, right? So when you're at home, you want to be safe. I don't know if you live in Oakland County or not.
I do.
You do? So safety is key, right? And
Absolutely.
as a restaurant owner, safety is key. So I've been saying to everyone, and I think everybody that gets it understands, if you don't have safety, you don't have anything. You could have all the money in the world. I mean, let's look at New York. It's got everything. It doesn't have safety. That's why it's falling apart. So, you know, if we can do our part at the county level, like obviously Sheriff Bouchard's doing a great job and we're supporting him all the way. And, you know, I'm going to make sure that he gets what he needs to double down, triple down, make sure people are safe. Because when people are safe, then you build off that.
Absolutely.
You know,
I couldn't agree more.
yeah.
The first time ownership, especially in Oakland County, because this Oakland County, I live in Oakland County myself,
Yeah.
and it has great potential. It is definitely something that it can definitely has a room for improvement. It can be totally great. As far as owning home in Oakland County, it's truly the people were able to manage that.
But now property
It's a
rates,
luxury.
property taxes are up though, right? Back in the day, so I can tell you, you're a young man, but you know, you can ask some of the people that are around here that have been in Oakland County. I was born in Wayne County. I grew up in Macomb County, but Oakland County was always the place. It was always the top of the top where you wanted to live. It's like you made it, right? And it's still great in many ways, but it's declined in many ways. But when we look at like, okay, how can we start giving people relief? When we say a 25% property tax reduction, that gives you relief.
Absolutely.
That gives your cooks relief, that gives your servers relief, that gives your management relief, that gives everyone relief. When there's safety, that's relief of mind. You know,
To break it back off what you said, by doing those actions, truly implementing those policies and things as such, that's when you're also gonna attract and maintain, keep the people within the
bring in the talent, right? Bring in the talent. So so these are all connected things, and that's why, you know, I appreciate you sitting here with me today, kind of having a conversation and, you know, wanting to understand, especially from a younger person's perspective, because I know what it was like when I was in the game, and the game has changed. There's a lot of pressure on restaurants. I mean, food costs. How about food costs? How crazy is that? Where we went from back in the days where you had 8-page menus. Now you have 1-page menus, and some of that is by design, you know, and depending on what the concept is, but nobody can escape high food costs.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'm sure you guys are struggling with that.
With inflation and everything, there's definitely a lot more room. So that being said, in order to run a successful business, you got to take into consideration these things and kind of adjust to it. Which, if I got to pay more for it, somebody else is gonna transfer into the customer, or also is gonna be a little more selective where I have to manage the opportunity on how many hours these people work. So that's gonna translate into it. So if we can implement policies that kind of deal better with the problem at hand, with things such inflation per se, and also these property taxes, where the business can get these breaks, then we can pay it forward and provide a better working environment.
It gives relief. It goes hand in hand. That's what I'm saying. Is I joke around with another friend of mine. They said, you know, for lunch, I go get a cheeseburger with my wife and fries and a drink. I mean, we're paying $70 in many instances, right? Where lunch used to, I mean, a chicken Greek salad used to be $9.99. What is it now? $18. It's doubled, right? So we look at these things, but then a lot of people pull back. A lot of people stay home. But you go to the grocery store, stuff is still sky high. So there's got to be relief. And again, at the county level, you know, I certainly will do everything in my power to provide relief every which way I can. But also, you know, we got to also be vocal and push at the state level and at the federal level, right? So I think you know, our citizens, and I think everyday Americans, they get it. And you know, that old saying, I don't know if you've heard it, but are you better off 4 years ago than you are today? Or are you worse off? I mean, you look at these things, and I think everybody knows the answer, but I'm definitely looking forward to being the next Oakland County executive and seeing that people like you give me more inspiration, because you're starting, because I was in your shoes. I know what it's like, and I surely wish you a lot of luck, but everything that I can do, to make your life safer, to make your life better. As a county executive, you know, you have my word.
Beautiful.
You know, and I appreciate you opening the doors here today.
Absolutely.
Spending a little time, and you know, I'd love to see what you got cooking at some point.
Absolutely. We'd love to show you our
yeah.
home here at Zana and do a little walkthrough just so you familiarize you with it. And truly appreciate you taking the time and coming to have this conversation with me as a small business owner. It's truly showing the interest within it as well, because it means a lot. I truly appreciate it. And
yeah. Well, you
we
know
look
what?
forward on supporting you with the best of our ability and everything that we can.
Thank you. Well, listen, it's my pleasure, because at the end of the day, I serve the people, I serve businesses, and that's not what's going on right now, unfortunately, with the current leadership. But I hope we can bring a change to that. So let's check it out.
And Nick, well, let me introduce you to the place where the true magic happens
No,
and all the hard work.
no introduction needed.
Cheers.
I'm a kitchen guy.
Wonderful. Well,
I
welcome.
spent years and years in the kitchen. This was my second home in many ways, like yours, you know.
Wonderful.
But
Wonderful.
are you scared to throw down in the kitchen? Or?
I'll make it happen when necessary. It's not my first choice, but if need be, I'll make it happen.
Well, listen, like I
Luckily,
said,
I got some great people.
if you guys are ever short or you guys, you know, need some help, I mean, you know, I can get dirty, so it's not a problem.
Cheers.
But,
Cheers.
You know,
Cheers.
no, thank you for the tour. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to come and check out the line.
Wonderful.
Thanks, sir. Yes, thank you. Anytime. You know, actually, it's therapeutic. Sometimes when I would get caught up with stuff and distress, you're here, you're there, you lock in. Exactly. That's exactly. Washing dishes. My dad would do that all the time. Okay. I'll be here. We'll hang out a little bit for sure. Thanks, guys. All
Cheers.
Right.
So this is where is our pizza oven, and kind of we do some things for like a little lounge, and then also this back kitchen, it's utilized for prep area per se, and then we also
Banquets
do our
maybe?
banquets
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. And you know what I love the most about it? A clean kitchen. You guys are on point. You know,
Beautiful.
So this is the key, and I think a lot of times, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is very supplemental to the business. When there's a slower day, there's a party, there's this, and you know, maybe we'll celebrate our celebration here, you know, on November 6th.
Absolutely, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
But I'll tell you what, this is a beautiful space. This is a beautiful space. When it comes down to like things like COVID, are people still, you know, talking to you about it? Is it people, did it affect you guys? It affected everybody, but is there still things that affect you from that period?
During that time, so I believe after that experience, especially in the hospitality industry, it's kind of like we are a lot more conscious. So now when we build the restaurant out, we made sure that the tables are spaced out. We make sure our capacity and all that good stuff. We make sure that we try to keep it as clean as possible, make the best effort for that, and truly be conscious about other people as well, and kind of keep our space.
It's important.
So it's extremely important to make people feel comfortable and try to be conscious of where we place our patrons and make sure that whoever comes dines here has a great dining experience and feels comfortable.
Safety and all that good
truly,
stuff.
so we're conscious for that. Luckily, we're heading in the right direction where it's not as crazy times as it was through COVID, so we got through it.
You know, it's like so many people went out of business at that time. Thankfully, you guys survived. And the whole game has changed, you know.
Absolutely.
Like we talked about food cost and all this other stuff and safety. But here you guys are. I've been there growing. What's the growth plan? Because I know, like, for you guys, always been a concern. Red tape, tough to do business, but you guys are delivering an elite product. I mean, you know, not to knock any other concepts out, but you guys are really an elite group of restaurateurs. You're bringing an elite product, elite environment, elite service, elite everything, right? But you haven't lost your commitment to the basics, and that's what I love about you guys. But, you know, I know when I used to be in the restaurant business, and I hope you take my advice, it's demanding, so you got to have a work-life balance. And I know, you know, on our earlier discussion, you have a little one at home, and I know you're making time, but make sure, you know, you guys are paying attention. And I know your team is really good with the staff and with everybody about having a good work-life balance. So, you know, kudos to you guys. I wish I learned that early on in my restaurant career because it was a big blur. But I'm really honored that you let us in today, and I'm honored that you're supporting us. And you know, whatever I can do, you know, in my capacity, not just for you, but every business here and every person in Oakland County, I'm here at the service of the people and the businesses. That's, and you know what? I would love nothing more than to visit businesses every day.
Absolutely.
You know, I do that in my current capacity as an insurance advisor, but you know, I'd love to do it as executive. So it's one of these things that I'm looking forward to, and I hope times get better for everyone. And I know you guys have been creative, have doubled down and figured out ways to, you know, expand on your offerings. But you know, I can't say how impressed I am. You know, you guys have done a great job. So.
Thank you for taking the time. Truly shows a lot about you, and truly thank you for coming and spending the time and getting to know the small business. Truly getting to know us, understand the struggles. It truly makes me believe in you, and that it's gonna be something great on our future.
Listen, brother, I've been through this struggle, good, bad, and ugly. I can tell you stories. As a matter of fact, I'll offer it, you know, maybe once or twice. If you're down to cook or something happens,
life is good. We'll do it.
You call me and I'll come. I'll be your sous chef.
No, that's wonderful. Cheers. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Best of luck. And I'm sure you're going to do some great things.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Cheers.